Yesterday, parliamentarians and opposition parties had the opportunity to respond to President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address that was delivered last Friday. Some of the main threads included the issue of land expropriation without compensation, the firing of Gupta-linked ministers, and fresh negotiations around the mining charter. The Minister of Science and Technology and senior ANC member Naledi Pandor joins us now from our parliamentary studios. Minister, thank you very, very much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Leanne, and morning to the viewers. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, well, thank you, because I know you had an exceptionally late night last night, the last speaker on the agenda, and well received, I might add. Not, I imagine, only by what was happening in Parliament by the MPs, but South Africans at large, really enjoying what you were saying. So I think that's a big thumbs up to you. Well done.
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
Minister, what is it like now in Parliament? Because I imagine there's a big difference. MPs behaving with a lot more respect. Has the removal of President Jacob Zuma changed the mood in Parliament, for now, that is?
Well, I think, Leanne, there is a different mood, but it's not boring at all. We're still having a debate. What perhaps we still need to learn is to have greater substance in what we say, even though we may disagree with each other. Because I think we're still looking at the person rather than the issues that confront the country, but vastly different from where we were a year ago.
There's very sort of nice, more like unity within Parliament. It appears that way. It certainly does. I mean, even you yourself acknowledging what some of the opposition parties were saying and almost agreeing with them. That's something we haven't seen in a very, very long time.
Well, I think if you go back to all my debates in Parliament, where there's an issue that I would agree with, I would acknowledge that this is not unusual. I don't believe in the politics of dishonesty or grandstanding. And so if someone has a good idea, I think we should grasp it and look at how we develop it. So you would know that in the debates of my department, we have always had a cross-party agreement. Now and again, some of the colleagues might, want to add spice, but generally we have excellent debates, because this is something that I've always believed in, that we should be honest with each other, but that our tasks and the nation come first.
Yeah, and one of those issues, and certainly one that you did pay reference to in response to the EFF leader, Mr. Julius Malema, that of the expropriation of land without compensation. But you did go on to further talk about that and elaborate. Perhaps for the viewers who missed that, let's get your views once again on this.
Well, as I think the President and many other ANC speakers have indicated, our political party, the African National Congress, has adopted a resolution which essentially is a policy directive to the ANC government that it should look at implementing the expropriation of land without compensation. They indicated very clearly that we cannot go on for so many decades without addressing the dispossession of land and the fact that black people in our country are the minority in terms of land ownership and access to land, especially for agrarian, but several other purposes as well. And as you know, our Constitution does direct us to correct the injustices of the past. And this is one of the areas of injustice that hold a great deal of emotive pain for the majority in South Africa. So we've said we must find a means of implementing this policy, and we will do so. It is now a policy directive. We would look at what form of law of general application should be developed and what the criteria within it should be. So what I indicated to Mr. Malema, because he asserted that we are being populist and they came up with this idea originally, etc., was that we are resolute in terms of that decision, and we will proceed to develop the means to implement it. It will be by law, as all things we do in our country require, and we'll follow the prescripts of the Constitution. But we are mandated by that very Constitution that we tend to quote rather selectively to ensure that the injustices of the past are redressed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you were even quite scathing to Musiwe Lekota, one of the I suppose stalwarts of the struggle movement, for his views on that, saying that he was a little bit sceptical about land redistribution. But I'm not going to let you get into that because I think you've explained it well. There's a little bit of chatter, and I suppose everybody's talking at the moment. Reshuffle. That's the big word of the moment. Now, there's some talk that previous ANC ministers, as well as opposition party members, may be considered for ministerial posts. Is there any truth to this rumor?
Really? Oh, no. As I told other colleagues in the media previously, I worry about getting the meerkat completed by the end of March and getting underway with the big phase 1 of the square kilometre array. That's my work.
So you stay away from the other stuff.
Matter of the executive, I'm happy that it belongs to a certain gentleman called President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Okay, so you're leaving it in his hands. But I have to ask you,
Absolutely.
if he wants you, and he did want you to be his running mate and the deputy president, would you accept that? Would you take that? Even though the meerkat is still your top priority, would you take on the deputy presidency if asked to do so?
Leanne, you're definitely not going to get me to talk to these things on TV, I can tell you. So let's leave it there.
Okay. You can't blame me for trying. There's also a talk, and I know you tweeted about this as well, about the reduction of the size of cabinet. Many people saying that it is too bloated. Do you feel the same? I mean, again, I know it's the president's prerogative, but you are there, you see this. Would you think that this is a better way to go in order to, streamline things, save costs as well?
I think this is something that has previously been discussed, certainly within the ministerial committees where we discuss budget matters, etc. One of the issues has been the size of the cabinet, but again, it's a matter that belongs to the head of the executive and to the leadership of the party at the officials level. But I do think, given the challenges confronting our country at the moment in terms of resources, etc., this is an area we should look at.
Yeah. Minister, just to wrap things up, your general impression of the responses to SONA yesterday, and also we saw the president frantically writing notes and really listening to what was said. What could we expect from him today?
Well, I told him that I did, the sweeping for him. I left him all the room to be presidential today. And so we're looking forward to his speech. I hope he'll certainly give members the assurance that some of the activities that he has referred to are not in any way going to detract from the urgent need for practical action in South Africa.
Minister, thank you very, very much for talking to us. It always is a pleasure. Minister of Science and Technology, Naledi Pandor, in our parliamentary studios. Thank you again.
Thank you.